Good evening.
Hi.
Ooh,
Hi.
I love that. Is that a room
Background.
divider?
Yes, you don't want to see what's behind there.
I do.
Oh, bad. I bought this during the pandemic because I was like, oh, I needed it for like grad school and for seeing clients. And I'm like, I'm just gonna need this for a couple months, and then cut to like 5 years later, and it's
Right.
my background for
Right.
everything.
I'm actually looking to purchase one, so if I move my office somewhere, I can pretend like it's private.
Yeah, it's nice.
I
It's
I think I got it at Walmart.
hmm
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah.
Make a note.
I know. It's nothing because again, I didn't think I was going to need it that long. I thought it was just going to be a short thing, and I was like, I don't want to spend that much money. And now it's my everyday background.
There you go. Well,
Excellent.
hi, I'm Diane.
Hi,
And I'm Katie.
hi, nice to meet you guys.
You
That
too.
was, yeah, we were so excited that Jay introduced us.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love what you guys are doing.
And this works perfectly with what we're doing.
It does.
Great.
It does. I can't wait to hear how you're using improv for therapy.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild. I feel like it's the skills that I learned that I bring into the therapy. Not so much like, hey, client, zip, zap.
Yes.
That would be good, though.
Yeah. I do that with my clients. Hey, they're famous.
Do you go, hey, Fred Schneider? Okay, you know what? All right, before we get started, we're gonna do a little introduction, just so I can edit it this way.
Okay.
Um, Hello and welcome to Improv Inside Out, the healing power of improv. I'm Diane Kettering, your improv host.
And I'm Katie Warzel, your mental health host.
There we go. And we are here with Rebecca Stevens. Rebecca, where are you right now?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Ooh, so how are you being affected?
We are okay. We're kind of right in the middle of all the big fires. But Wednesday night, so about a week ago, there was a fire that was less than 2 miles away from us,
Mm,
and we were ready to evacuate. And thankfully, they got it put out. But we as a community, everyone's sort of devastated right now, and there's a lot of volunteer work. There's a lot of we're going to foster a dog in a couple days, and I'm volunteering at the Red Cross and donating clothes and toiletries. So there's a lot of, I think, pain that we're all feeling and trying to come together to do what we can to help those that lost everything.
right.
Oh my goodness, how just horribly devastating.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, just that environment. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're not out of the woods. The winds are coming back tonight. And I have
Oh,
friends that were sending me photos of fire trucks that are parked on their street, just sort of waiting. And
Right.
just waiting.
they're leaving. They're going to evacuate, but they're kind of just yeah, we're still on high alert. It's not like an earthquake and now it's like, okay, now we kind of build it all up. It's like a huge fire, two huge fires, and then they won't stop. So it's
Right.
every night's a little terrifying.
Right. Right. You don't know what you'll wake up to. Yeah, that is not good.
I know this sounds maybe insensitive, and I apologize if it does. Did you ever think of like, let's just get out of here for a while?
Well, I did. I was like, well, I'm from Bloomington, Illinois. So I was like, I mean,
Oh,
if we lose everything, we're just gonna drive back to Bloomington. My sister's a realtor. I'll be like, give me a house.
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
Go.
I love Bloomington, Illinois. Isn't that where IU is?
Uh, it's uh
Close.
It's IU. IU's close. Illinois Wesleyan is there, and Illinois State is there. IU's in Champaign.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think now that I say it, I'm like, I haven't been there in 25 years. I
Oh, you
think.
know what? You said Illinois, and I'm thinking Indiana.
Oh well, that's where my husband's from.
Oh,
Ah.
really? Well,
That's
then
where
I
IU.
love that.
Yes. Yeah.
So, do you want to get us started on a warm up?
Sure. Whatever you guys want to do, that's great. By the way, is this recorded
Yeah,
visually
I
also?
hope so.
Yes.
Yes.
So then I need to apologize for the bluey sticker I have on my hand.
Oh,
How
It's actually
sophisticated.
Band-Aid. I'm like, this is so bad. Anyway, it's fine.
Why do you have that on your hand?
I have small children that hurt me, and I easily cut myself because I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. And our only band-aids are all cartoon characters. We don't
Right.
have band-aids.
Right. Of course. Of course.
So, well, you said your favorite was Fred Schneider.
Yes, yes.
All right. Do you want to explain how that's played, and then we can play?
So the way that I played it many moons ago was you just say, "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are you doing?" Or "What are you doing?" And then someone has to respond with whatever they're doing, but in the accent of Fred Schneider.
Okay. So this is Fred Schneider from B-52s,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So, Rebecca, what does that accent sound like?
I'm 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 climbing a wall because I need to get power.
There you go.
Okay.
And then we all say, "Hey, Fred Schneider."
Everyone
So,
says, "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are you doing?" And then you just go in a circle around and
okay.
say what you're doing.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll start with you, then go to Katie, then go to me, and go around. Does that work?
Great. I love it.
And then
Okay.
do we all say, "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are you doing?" Or just you?
Yeah. Yes, we all say that, and then we individually say what we're doing. And like so you say, "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are you doing?" Say what you're doing, and then we say, "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are you doing?" Katie would say what she's doing. "Hey, Fred Schneider, what are we doing?" And then you would say what you're doing.
But we don't have to really say what we're doing, right?
Oh, no, 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 that's the point. You're
That's
supposed
what
to
I
like,
was going to ask you. Is this a real? Because this is all new for me, so I never know.
I'm currently not climbing anything. So yeah, no, you just sort of you make it up, which is what's fun about it because you can't you want to be creative, but also like not think too hard about it. That's what I love about the warm up because it's like whatever the first thing that came into your head is
Right.
perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Hey,
Hey,
Fred
Fred,
Schneider, what are you
can do
doing?
it. I'm sitting in a chair and I'm picking my nose.
Ooh.
Hey,
Hey,
Fred
Fred
Schneider,
Schneider,
what are you doing? I'm hiking outside and watching birds.
Hey,
Hey,
Fred Schneider, what are
are
you
you
doing?
doing?
I'm buying a winning lottery ticket so I can get gas.
Yay.
that's it.
Rebecca, I was reading over what you sent, the pre questionnaire.
Mhm.
What is it like to work on a cruise ship?
Well,
So explain the story, how you got there and everything.
so when I graduated from Second City out here in California, they like gave us, a t-shirt and they're like, "Okay, goodbye." And I was like, "Oh, all right, so I have this t-shirt, I have all these skills and like these friends and everything." And I was like, and the other thing was like, "Oh, you could, audition for a cruise ship." And I'm like, "I'm never gonna do this." This is like 2009. I'm like, "I'm never gonna go on a cruise ship." Cut to like 5 years later, I just got out of a relationship. I was living in my own like big girl apartment, absolutely loved it, but I was like, I just need to get out. And they were having auditions, and I was like, I guess I'll audition. And I auditioned, and I got a call back, and this was in November of 2013. And then I got a call back, and I was like, oh yeah, obviously I'll go because it's a callback, and I'm an actress. And I went, and during the callback, Beth, who was in charge of it, was like, "Hey, we're taking someone, we're taking a female in December, and then we're taking people in January and February and blah blah blah, because the cruise ships go throughout the year." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like they're not. I had my flight home for December for the holidays, so I was like, "It's not going to be me." I get a call 4 days later that are like, "You've been selected to leave in 2 weeks. You're
Oh,
leaving in 2 weeks to go on
wow.
the cruise ship." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm leaving in 2 weeks." So I literally like packed everything, had a party with my friends at iOS, the other improv club out here,
Yeah.
and went to Chicago for 2 weeks to train, and then we got on our cruise ship, and it was out of New York, and it was a 9-day cruise, and we only did 4 shows. So we had
Wow.
I have never been so tan. We went to the Bahamas, we went to oh God, we went to the Dominican Republic. We
Oh,
like I
nice.
was so freaking tan, and it was fantastic. We went to the Virgin Islands, which once we were done with it, they weren't so virgin anymore. Lord,
Yaka yaka.
yaka yaka. It was wonderful. That said, I will never ever go on a cruise ship as a passenger.
Oh.
Well, okay, you have to say why.
It's so gross. And this was
Oh,
before the pandemic. Like people, everyone's just, it's like you take a bunch of toddlers and you give them free alcohol and free sugar and just set them loose. And like everyone is just like, it's just too many people in one spot.
Right.
It's just too much. And the people that work there are fantastic. Like all the employees, like some of them are trying to get their visas for America. Some of them are working and they haven't seen their family in years and they're sending money back to them. And these are like the cooks and cleaning
yeah.
and maintenance people. Like it's just so like they're beautiful people. And the passengers are beautiful too, but like I did it for like 5 months and I was like, I'm never ever going on a cruise ship. And like there's a sneeze guard in front of the food and like
Oh,
you
I
just
hate that. Oh, I hate that.
whatever they made on Monday would like return on Thursday in a different way. And I was like,
Uh-uh.
oh yeah, it was gross. It was gross.
What kind
And
of
yeah.
what kind of cabin did you get?
So we were lucky since we were entertainers. We weren't considered like workers of nor it was I'm not going to say the line, but we weren't considered workers of the cruise ship. So we got like suites. Like we shared a room and we got our own suite like up where the passengers are. And then it rotated every once in a while. So I think there was like one maybe like 2 week stint where I was like down with the crew and it was it was this much space. Like
Yeah.
it was so tiny and you could hear the rocking of the boat and like and it was underwater
Hmm.
like because I
Yeah.
mean it was like just don't watch the Titanic
I was
before
gonna
you
say, was that after Titanic had come out?
yeah, it was very scary. But my experience was wonderful. I loved the people that I performed with. I loved working with Second City. I
Yeah.
met so many great people. I just will never go on a cruise ship.
That's when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that had to be an experience. But you were talking about how you were or just a few blocks from IO and Second City one
The,
summer.
they were really close to each other. I was a handful. I could walk to it. So yes, I could walk to both theaters from where I lived in Hollywood.
Wow.
So was it short form or long form? What did you study?
At At Second City, it was long form and then sketch that we put into shows. And then at iOS, I did short form and long form. I did everything at iOS, I feel like, including most of the performers, which is where I met my husband.
Yes. So you met your husband there. So do you guys just like do improv all day? Do you ever know if he's telling the truth or if he's like just doing a bit?
I do, but it's wonderful because like one of us will kind of do a bit and the other one will like heighten it, but never in like a competitive way. It's more just like what could we say to make the other person laugh? And now that we have two kids, we have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. Like all I'm
Wow.
trying to do is get bits out of them. I'm just
Right.
like, all right, I'm like, action, back to one. I'm like, come on, let's do this again. Uh, but we laugh so much, and it's so great when we break each other just
Mhm.
randomly throughout the day. One of us will say something to the other person, and it's so heartfelt when we could make the other one laugh. It's my favorite thing.
I
Oh,
can't imagine
that's fun.
two improvisers living together, not fighting for attention.
This is my first relationship with an improviser that is like this. I feel like the other ones before were like, no, I'm the funny one. No, I'm the funny one. Don't come to my show. Don't come to my show. With my husband and I, it's very like we know our strengths and we know how to play to them for each other.
Mhm.
Right, right.
That's excellent.
So how do you use improv now?
So now I don't perform as much. I do perform every once in a while when someone asks me to come play, but as an associate marriage and family therapist, which I'm still getting my hours, I have like 200 left before I get licensed, so I'm very excited.
Hmm.
But I found that, well, first and foremost, comedy is so healing,
Yeah.
and there are moments, especially with my couples that I work with, where there is so much humor there that'll come up and like calling out what someone else says, like if they say something that could be funny and just being like and like highlighting it a little bit more can add some levity to the session. I'm by no means doing like hey, give me a suggestion of something that's not a food item.
Right.
Uh, but I'm always aware of how comedy is there can lessen like any anxiety.
Right.
And
Right.
as a therapist, I find that obviously active listening, like that was, one thing I learned. And
Mhm.
another thing that I've come to realize is sometimes in a session I'll have an idea of like, oh, I know where this is gonna go. Just like in an improv scene, like, oh, I know where this is gonna
Right.
go. And then I'm thrown a curveball and I immediately have to just exfoliate it out, just slough it out, forget it, don't remember it, let it go, and stay in the moment. And I feel like I learned that with improv,
Mm.
as well as like, oh, I
Yes.
heard
Good.
something, I'm gonna tuck
Mhm.
it back here and see if it comes up again, and then I'll bring it into the session. So I feel like the skills that I learned with improv are so beneficial to me as a therapist.
Absolutely.
Right, right. Um, you were also talking about, well, I guess reliving your college days.
Mhm.
You want to
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Do you want me to get into the dark side first?
Do you want to? Go
Sure.
ahead.
Of course. Oh
And
yeah.
only if you're comfortable doing so.
Oh, I wrote a whole thesis on this. No, I'm fine with this.
Okay, well, that must be
Um,
comfortable.
Excellent.
yeah. So when I went to college, I went to Arizona, from Illinois to Arizona. So, a big fish in a small pond to being a small fish in a big pond. And I struggled with an eating disorder during like probably about 3 years until I got help. And so I missed out on, like, especially in Arizona, like I missed out on like the late night parties and the late night talks and like the bonding with your roommate and getting pizza ever. I missed out on those experiences. And then once I was recovered, I was lucky to have my senior year, and like it was cool. I did have fun, but then I was like all of a sudden like an adult and out of college. And when I found comedy, I felt like, oh, this is my college again, without having to struggle with my body image and the demons and the voices in my head. I was able to like just be myself, and people laughed at what I had to say, and it didn't
Right?
matter like what I looked like. And I was able to turn off sort of that negative voice in my head that told me like, that I wasn't good enough in any way. And I felt accepted and I felt supported. And then I also had the plastic cup of PBR like in the green room at 2 in the morning. Like, not that that's what college is, but like kind of that's what college is.
Right.
Um, and then I got to flirt, and I got to like have like friendships and like that were really so meaningful. And then I got to go home to like my own apartment and just be an adult too, and not have to worry about waking up, and going to class the next day. So I will say this over and over again. I feel like I got a second chance at college, but with more like adulting in me and more
Yeah.
experience. So I really enjoyed it, and didn't do anything stupid.
Right.
Well,
Right.
sorry to hear that, but because I'm reading here, because Katie and I were both laughing at this. Did she say hooking up?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely hooking up like I would have in college. But I feel like, doing that in my late 20s instead of my early 20s meant that I was like more, like prepared and protected. And I mean,
Right.
I didn't make good choices at all, but no regrets. No regrets.
I don't think
I
you're
mean,
supposed to then.
how many guys with, flannels did I go home with? Many,
Right.
many guys, and hoodies and flannels, many. And that's okay.
Do you have a number or no?
Oh, that's gonna be for the after hours.
How did
Yeah.
improv play a role in that hooking up? No.
Mhm, mhm. We
Can
can
I
do
have
a
a
whole show about
suggestion? Well, I'm gonna let Katie dive into the other parts as I get to talk about the fun and the hooking up. But
Right. So, can you talk about how improv has, I guess, impacted you in, like, how specifically can you see improv making a difference for you?
Well, personally, I think I mentioned, and when I was sending what I sent you guys, I met all my friends, like all
Hmm.
my best friends through improv. And it wasn't just performers. It was like, women that were there to support their boyfriend. And then they broke up with that boyfriend, but they still came back because they had built you know
Mhm.
and I feel like it's just been such a great, and even now like this community, I'm on so many Facebook groups of like, just improv in LA, and the community, the theaters have closed down, and we're still a community, like we still
Mm.
support each other. Like when the fire started, one of our improvisers who lives in, I think, New Mexico now, started a whole LA resource group and
Oh,
got
wow.
all on board and was just very much like, okay, let's get all the information in one place. And like she's not even the same state. And
Yeah.
it's just mind-blowing how supportive this community is.
Mhm.
And I know that I could reach out to anybody, be like, hey, could you help me? And I would have so many people ready to help in anything that I needed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Improv is the best community. I mean, I know we say it like before we go on stage, I got your back. They mean it. I mean, it goes past that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fan. And even like, so one of the like old bartenders at IO, who was also a performer, he's like one of my best guy friends where he's like, hey, anything you need, you let me know. And I'm just like, of course, like I would reach out to you. Like if I didn't have a husband and needed like a man thing done, which I
Right.
don't know what it would be, but I would call him and be like,
Right, right,
this man job for me, whatever.
Right.
And then we'd get a beer afterwards.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh gosh, that's what,
That's, do you have a question?
no, I did.
Do you have a
My
follow-up
mind went
question?
dirty when you did that.
I know mine went dirty too, and I tried to reel it back, but I was like, whatever, it's out there.
You know, I did, and I know this is probably more Katie's too, but so you you said you had an eating disorder. Did were you doing improv before that happened?
No. And it's so funny because I used to walk in our like student union, and there was an improv show that was like Thursdays, and I would always see the people performing, and one of the guys I'm friends with now in LA. Like I remember seeing him perform. And I think I had a part of me that was like, oh, I wish I could do that. Because I was always funny. It was always funny. That was just I was born this way. But I didn't, I was
Not a
wrestling with
choice. You were
it's not a choice. I was born this way. But I was too busy wrestling with my other demons. And if I look back on it, I definitely believe like, oh, if I would have found improv sooner, then maybe I wouldn't have had an eating disorder. But I did have one. I found the improv, and now I'm trying to help people heal anyway with my therapy of what I've gone through. And unfortunately, like I grew up in a small town where I just wanted to be an actress. Nobody told me that there was improv. It was stand up or that
right,
was it. So I
right.
didn't know that there was this whole world until I moved out to LA, and I'm just like, oh wow. And so I'm glad that I found it later because then I didn't get jaded with it early on.
Right. So what was your first improv experience?
My first improv experience was at Second City when I just started. I took level one, and it was a Saturday morning at like I think 10 in the morning, and I was just like, okay, here we go. Hadn't seen a show. Just I had a boyfriend at the time who was like, you're really funny. You need to do improv. And I like
Oh, wow.
called
Good.
I called IO, I called Groundlings, I called Second City, and I think Second City was the one that was starting the soonest. And I was
Yeah,
like, I'll just go there. Okay, here we go.
yeah,
And I was terrified to do it. And then I just realized, oh, I don't do it. I just am it, like
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
have to memorize anything. Thank God I
Yeah.
don't have to memorize anything.
Hmm.
I could just show up and just be myself and see what happens. And that was just the best feeling.
So was your eating disorder still happening at that time?
No, I was in recovery at that time, and I remained in recovery until I got pregnant with my first son, which is all in my thesis. So that's a whole other
So we'll have
thing.
to read
Yeah.
that. So we'll read your
Uh,
thesis.
but even then, like that was my own, body issues, the eating disorder voice came back, but I was also in grad school and had the support of the community, of my husband, and I didn't relapse. So it
Right.
came in my mind of like, oh my God, you're gonna gain weight, you're gonna lose your body, all this stuff. But then I had a therapist and everything that I worked through it, and I was like, no, I got this. And then I got pregnant again, and it almost happened again, and I was like, no, 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 I'm gonna write a thesis about this. Put it all down, and I'm going to talk to people about it, which I do. And I have a
Mhm.
lot of clients now that are prenatal and postnatal women, and I bring a body all the time because it's not your own. You lose your body when you're pregnant, and whether or not you've had an eating disorder, those thoughts still come up, and you get weighed at the doctor's office every month, and it
Right.
can take a toll on your soul. And so I talk about those issues that aren't usually spoken about.
Mhm.
Right, right. So do you think the biggest effect was the community of improv?
Yes. Yes. I feel like the community, especially my best friend now, lives in Canada, and she hates confrontation, but she will tell you whatever she's thinking. She saved me from almost joining a cult.
Oh
Like
my.
Oh,
she's that good of a person. Like, we'll say it like it is. And I know that it's coming from a place of love.
Mhm.
There's no, with the improv community, like, there's no bullshitting. Like, no one's gonna blow smoke up your ass. Like, it's very honest.
Mhm.
And that's what I also love about it, because I don't need people putting their heads in the sand when stuff is going down.
I really want to hear how you almost joined a cult.
So in a nutshell, I didn't almost join the cult, but I almost dated like a cult like leader.
Ah.
So he was like a motivational speaker, and he got me in where I was like, yeah, I gotta better myself. I'm gonna do this. I'd gotten out of another relationship and I was like, this is great, yeah. And then I realized there was like 20 other women that were like, yeah, he speaks to me. And I was like, oh wait, hold on. And then I think the kicker was like one time when we were kind of dating, he was like, this girl just found me online at 3 in the morning and I just went over to her apartment to hold her. And I was like, no, nobody's doing that. And then he was like, buy my seminars, join this, give money. And that's when my friend was like, okay, let's talk about cults. And I was like, there's nothing really just happening. And she's like, no, there's different kinds of cults. She's like, I'm going to call your father. And I'm like, okay, okay, this is probably,
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
it's LA. It's fabulous.
You know what's I know I keep asking. You tell
It's
me,
okay.
tell me if you have a question.
I do have a question. I have a
Okay.
question related to what
Fine. Take over the interview, Katie.
So this one goes back to I think you mentioned that the community made a had a huge impact on you and has kind of helped you um, stay healthy.
Mhm.
Um, so and you said it was the community aspect, but I also read, and I think I kind of heard a brief mention of it's who you are. It's not something you had to remember, but I think it's worth mentioning that it's just you went in and it's what you are. It's who you are. It's not that you had to memorize or be something that you weren't, and I think that is huge. Especially when you bring in the eating disorders and things and being able to walk into a community where you're accepted and loved and welcomed, just being, right? Just being you. And I think that's something that I've seen in improv and that I love so much about it that and I think Diane does this beautifully. And I mean, she's like, it's just improv. It's just what you do. And I'm like, no, it's like, we need bullet points for how to pull off this community and help people feel so accepted when you walk in the room because it's so counter culture now, I feel like. I mean, I talk with clients of all ages about how do you make friends? Like people don't remember how to make friends or how to feel comfortable in their own skin when they walk into a room. And I feel like that's something huge, huge that improv kind of instills in you. It helps you be comfortable with you and just being you in the community around just you, right? Like you said, they're going to tell you how it is, right? But they're still your friends. You know, you don't need to change I mean, everybody tries to be kind, right? But you don't need to pretend to be someone you're not. Or, I mean, for a scene you might, but like in general, you're you, right? You're you. It's you walk in and it's who you are. And I think that's just huge. Can you imagine if teachers were able to bring that to a middle school classroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That totally speaks to me. Um I don't want to get on my soapbox for it. But I just feel like I noticed when my kids, every single one of them, all four of our kids became different people in middle school. And none of it was good. Like I wish, I in middle school is hard enough, but I just felt like it was devastating. Like by the time I got to my third and fourth kids, I was like crying. Getting ready, like, no, don't break my babies. And can you imagine like them walking into a school where the teachers knew how to do that? how to help. Okay, this is who you are. You know, everybody knows it's hard to be here, but to be able to kind of identify a clique is forming here, that's not good. How do we include this? I mean, can you imagine that feeling that you feel when you walk into improv, like for middle schoolers or even high schoolers,
Right.
walking into school and experiencing that?
That would be incredible. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the middle school. That's when
Mhm.
it is, right? Because that's when everybody is weird and
Yes.
awkward.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
they feed off of it,
they do.
and it's and my kids aren't there yet. They're 3 and 4, but like I'm already worried. I'm already worried
Right.
about
Right.
it. And like thankfully in LA there are some improv classes, but it's like outside of school. It's not in the school. And I think the reason that it's so supportive is because when you're put on a team or when you join a team, when you're on that stage, your goal is to support your partner. Your goal
Mhm.
is to support your teammate.
Right.
And I feel like if in middle school teachers could teach that, like this is your 5 groups and it's not a clique, you're just supporting each other. The next week you're with another 5 kids
Mhm.
and you have to support each other. And what does that look like?
Right.
And how does that feel? And the whole goal is to make your teammates look better, not you look better, which is
Right.
what we
Mhm.
job. And if that could
Yes.
somehow filter into middle school, that would be life changing,
Wouldn't
because
Mm.
everybody's awkward. So like let's
Yeah.
support that.
it? Right.
Let's all be the ones with glasses. Let's
Yeah.
all be the ones from broken homes. Let's make
Right.
Right. Right. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because in middle school, the negativity and the meanness, I think that just grows and that's contagious. But I also feel, I was telling Katie this, in improv, when we're all saying yes in agreement, that agreement's contagious too. And I think that's why, just like you, with all your friends who are somehow connected to improv, I just think when you talk about that, I think that's just got to be such a fun group of just positivity and support.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and also like you said, saying yes. And Katie, like subconsciously, like if you're saying yes consciously, subconsciously that's forming something in you to say yes, to support this person without even thinking about it. And I think that's the unspoken just sort of foundation that is built when you are on a team or form a team or whatever. And I do find that with, all my friends here. Like some of my great friends, we weren't on teams together, but we saw each other's shows. We got a drink in the bar afterwards. And now we
Yeah.
have like monthly like hangouts at my house or another girl's house. And it's like sometimes it's 5 women, sometimes it's 35 women. And it's just we're all there and it's fantastic just to continue to support and lift each other up.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
neat.
Oh, yeah.
Very neat.
That just sounds like a cool place to be.
It does.
So, um, my turn. I love that
Attention
you
hog.
said, yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I'm an improviser. Um, you said, I'll read the whole thing. Improv is all about being present. It is impossible to explain or describe in an improv show. Oh, that's so true. And you have to witness or be a part of it. It's like magic and can bring the audience and performers joy.
Mhm.
I think that is like so perfectly said. Like you can't describe it. You have to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, my husband still performs a musical, the improvised musical, like once a month. And sometimes I get to go, which is great. But if I can't go, he'll come home and I'll be like, "How was it?" He'll be like, "Great." And I'm like, "What was the suggestion?" And he'll tell me, and I'll be like, "Great, that's all I need to know because I'm not going to ask you the details because you're not going to be able to explain it to me. I don't want you to explain it to me. If there's a highlight, awesome, but like you can't explain the magic that happens. Like it is just."
Right.
And when you see it all flow so beautifully, like you just leave the show, like audience leave just like, how was that even possible? Like, how could they read each other's minds? Like there is like a subconscious, like there is an upper level of just sort of like awareness and intelligence that can form. And the performers are doing it for each other, and then the payoff is that the audience gets it,
Yes. Yes.
not doing it for the audience, which is also so beautiful that it could be so selfish, but it's so selfless at the end.
Mhm.
Right. Because you hear people, that may be watching it for the first time and they see a really good show and they're like, oh, that was scripted. It's like,
Yeah.
really wasn't.
Mhm.
It just happens. Yeah.
That's very cool. That's
Well,
very cool to watch.
to finish up, we talked about asking for a friend, and you had something on here, correct?
Yes, she did. She asked each of us a question.
Ooh.
No,
Rules. There are no rules. So I just
that's right.
Yes. Yes. Do you want me to read it or you have the questions?
you can read it because I do not have the questions.
Okay, but what are you drinking? Because that looked good.
It was just ginger ale. It's just out of a blue glass.
It's what?
It's ginger ale.
Oh,
Ginger.
ginger ale. I thought you said cereal. That's creative.
It's Captain Crunch. Listen, it's LA. We do things differently, okay? Our cereal.
Need a little snack during your session.
Such a thirst quencher, Captain Crunch. Okay. So
Okay, you
well,
ask.
Rebecca. So I'm gonna do Rebecca here.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Okay, you
Yeah.
ask me my question, and then I will ask you your question.
Okay. Does Katie feel that improv may help her be a therapist? I have thoughts on how it helps me.
Mhm.
That's my Rebecca impression.
I'm glad that you did me, like everyone else at the improv community.
It's your college days. Look it up.
Giddy up.
Okay, so I do think it helps me as a therapist. I haven't done a ton of improv. I'm just very, very new to the community. And I love, love, love how improv activates so many different parts of our brain. It brings us to the present. It brings people joy. It releases endorphins. It just checks all the boxes. So I'm learning how to incorporate it into my therapy session. The thing, I guess the biggest off the top thing that I've seen with improv is it's given me actually some language to help describe how I interact with some of my clients, which I know sounds kind of odd, but there's my specialties are geriatrics and schizophrenia. I know it seems very different, but a lot of the things that the skills that you use when you're speaking with someone with schizophrenia are the same that you use with someone who's got dementia.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's transferable. So that's where that came about. And so the yes and has really helped me describe how to speak with someone who is operating in a delusional world. Because there's not always, it's not always yes. Like I'm not always going to agree with them, but the principle is the same, right? Because I'm validating the emotion. So I might say, yes, I can tell you're very angry.
Yeah.
So, and what are we going to do about it? Right. So I can validate the right piece of what's happening and then how do we move forward from there? And it's before, I don't know if you experienced this or not, and you may not work with people with schizophrenia. Most people don't, but that's not something you can learn from a book. You cannot learn how to work with people with who live in a delusional universe from reading a book. You've just got to experience it and make some mistakes and learn and go. And you're still going to make mistakes because every single human being is different. Right. And so it's that but the yes and really is something that I was able to grab onto. I'm like, that's it. That's what you do. That's what you do. You find the yes. It might be deep, deep in there, but you find it. You find the yes, and what are we going to do? And so that's kind of how I've described it to people who've asked in that specific. So sorry, that's the very, very, very long answer.
What you're doing is incredible. What you're doing is incredible. And thank you so much for taking that on because those two populations, I almost worked with geriatric. I was very interested in that.
Mhm.
But both those populations need so much patience and love and listening and support. So I absolutely love that you're doing that. That's incredible. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I love it. I kind of fell into it. I don't really feel like I had a choice about where I worked. But I've now that's where my heart is. And it's, I really, really enjoy my work now. So yeah.
Love it. And I also love that that it's a women-driven community. You work at a place that's all
Well, no, just in general, because women live longer than men. So
oh,
the community is mostly women, right?
gotcha. Gotcha.
So
I
with
thought
a
it was like boss and like everyone that works.
no, no, no. Well, and most nurses are women as
Okay,
well.
now ask my question.
Oh, okay. Diane. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes, go ahead. I forgot what it was, but I'll have an answer.
Okay. As Rebecca, myself, I am curious.
Are you drinking? Are you drinking Captain Crunch?
I'm drinking ginger ale. Thank you. That's how we do it in California. I am curious how you use comedy to cope with life events.
Oh,
This will be good.
well, you know what, Rebecca? I think like you, everything seems funny. You know, I can find a joke or something funny in my head on almost anything, and then that keeps it positive. And it's great if I could say I'm always positive, but I'm not. I think the hardest thing is not saying the joke when it's inappropriate.
Or laughing when you said it in your head. I
Yeah.
struggle with that one. I'm so funny.
I'm hilarious. So that I think that's the biggest thing is it just it's there. And I think a lot of improvisers have that. They're just always thinking, and even though maybe they don't mean to be funny, but they're almost like yes anding the situation. And if it's in your head, it's safe to think it.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Talk some more.
No, I'm gonna make it look like
My
you
answer
gave real long-winded answers. I mean, my answer is I don't know. No. What about you? How do you do it?
Yes.
I feel the same way. And I've had so many uncomfortable conversations at like grocery stores or at doctor's offices where I'll just like start, doing some bits with a normal person and they're just like, I don't know what to do with you. And I'm like, that's fair. Okay, I'll use it. Like I'll just sort of like when you're in that space, and I think as improvisers we kind of always are, it's like you can't help but find the humor in every situation because that's what makes life livable because otherwise if you're finding the sadness or the dread in every situation then it's like I can't live that way and yes we still experience sadness and dread but like being able to find that silver lining and the laugh like there's so much healing in laughter like just to get it out I mean laughing is just funny in general like what is this noise that comes out of us like what is that
Yeah.
that we do and it's also like so appreciated like when like when our babies laugh for the first time like and nothing else matters and like when I can make my father laugh I'm just like oh I've done it because
Right.
there's so much to it but I have had many awkward moments at doctors offices where I'll say something very inappropriate and then there and I'm like oh yeah there's probably like rules I should probably be careful.
Oh, how fun. I enjoyed talking to you. I am hoping that everything goes well right now from where you are and you stay safe.
I forgot about it. See what happens? Like I forgot that the world's burning.
Well, I'm strictly talking about your Captain Crunch and ginger ale.
It feels like it's going down well. I think we'll be okay.
Wait.
Yes. Do you have anything you want to make sure that our listeners know or anything you want to promote before we go?
I don't have anything to promote, but I am my nickname is Hot Pants, which I got at my improv community. So if they
of course it is. How did you get that?
uh one of my teachers, I was actually working in the office doing the list of everyone that's going to be in the class and it was doing my class and I asked the teacher I was like let's give everyone nicknames so I said a name and like he gave a name or I gave a nickname and when it got to me he goes obviously Hot Pants and I do wear hot pants but I'm not known for hot pants like little shorts or even pants that are hot in any okay no I guess I do look good in a nice pair of jeans but he gave me the nickname Hot Pants and then it just stuck because that first class when he was reading off the roll call, he like said everyone's name and their nickname, and mine just stuck. And so now I'm Hot Pants, and then when my mom comes to visit, she's Hotter Pants.
That's great. And what's your husband's nickname?
He doesn't have one. He didn't get one. I mean, Mr. Hot Pants.
It would have to be.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is, if people want to follow me, I'm at Hot Pants World on what's Instagram on that one, and then if TikTok stays around, I'm on that. I'm on Blue Sky, but I'm not on the X anymore because there was too many things happening.
Right. Well, that's cool. So at Hot Pants World on Instagram, and I'm gonna have to follow you.
It's a lot of bits. It's a lot. I mean, I have a professional one too, but like that one's not as fun. So don't.
Well, Rebecca, thank you for joining us. And I hope maybe we get to talk to you again.
Yes.
This would be great. Thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate all the communication back and forth and your guys' patience as I figured out what was going on with LA. But this was wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
It was great to talk with you.
You have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Do I go now? Are we done?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna go. Oh, thank you for joining us on Improv Inside Out, the healing power of improv. Until next time, stay happy and healthy inside out. The sentence is, are you gonna say with me? Stay happy and healthy inside out.
If you would like to be a guest on our show, please contact us at improvinsideout.com.
It's a computer member. I think you do a good job acting like you're kind.
Thanks.
I
Black heart to be displayed.
You were so mean.
So I think it was that. And then like I, at the very core of me, am very to the point. Like if life could be lived in bullet points, that's what
bullet points.
Me too. But then there's not there's not friendly greeting in bullet points. And so I find myself, okay, now what do I really want to say? And so I'll do the bullet points, and then I surround it with kindness. And I feel like
a sandwich. Like a compliment sandwich. That's funny.
Yes, except it's not really compliments. It's kindness.
Like this. That's like
it's a kolache.
A kolache,
Like
compliment kolache.
Yeah, isn't that what they're called?
Oh,
Kolache.
it just keeps moving. I keep thinking she's coming on.
Hmm.
I've never heard that.
I haven't either.
Nor do I even know what that is.
We coined it. Kolache. It's like what the inside out breakfast that Michael made you for Christmas.
Breakfast tied to our podcast. Oh, the inside out biscuits and gravy.
So I don't know how to say it, but it's Kolache. Kolache, right? Kolache. But it's like it's the stuffing, it's a sandwich that's like breading on the outside, and then all the goodness is inside. So you can eat it like a pocket.
So you compliment is the bread. And your bullet points are in there. Kindness, not compliment.
Kindness.
So it's a kindness kolache. I gotta write that down.
Kindness.
Have you ever had, I'm gonna ask our guest that. Have you ever had a kindness kolache?